Have you ever sat in silence and wondered, what is the secret to overcoming a challenge that seems too big to win? Have you felt the quiet pull of doubt, like a soft whisper asking if you can ever move forward when every word feels like a mountain? Want to share a story with you, a story that is very close to my heart. It is the story of my struggle to learn English. At first, I felt lost and alone. I sat with my books and listened to the sounds of words that felt strange and hard to grasp. I looked at the letters and felt that each one was a secret code that I had yet to unlock. The days were long, and the nights were full of thoughts of, why is this so hard? I was a young learner when I first met the English language. I remember the day I opened my book. The pages were full of new words. Each word was a door to a new world. I touched each page gently, as if each word were a precious stone. I tried to read the words out loud, but they did not always make sense. My tongue felt clumsy, and my mind felt heavy. But I kept trying. I tried to speak in small words and simple sentences. I said, I try. I learn. I grow. Even if the words came out in a jumble, I believed that one day I would speak clearly and with ease. Every day I practiced a little more. I wrote small notes in my diary. I listened to simple songs and watched cartoons with bright, clear images and simple words. I tried to match my voice to the sound of the words that danced in the air. I remembered one step at a time, one word a day. Even when my tongue twisted and my mind became tired, I did not give up. I held on to the hope that one day I would speak with confidence. I made many mistakes along the way. I would say, I go to the park instead of I went to the park. I would mix up words like there and there. My teacher would smile and gently correct me. Sometimes I felt embarrassed when I made a mistake. I felt like I was wearing a big, heavy coat of wrong words. But with each mistake, I learned a little more. I learned that mistakes were not walls but stepping stones. I learned that every error was a chance to improve. I remember one day when I felt especially low. I sat alone in a quiet room, my head bowed and my heart heavy. I looked at my notebook and saw the scribbled lines and circles that were my attempts at writing. I thought, why can't I get this right? But then I saw a bright ray of hope. I saw that every error was like a small seed that could grow into a beautiful flower if I watered it with effort and care. I realized that struggling was a part of learning, and that even the smallest step forward was a victory. I began to change my ways. I started to listen to gentle voices reading simple stories. I listened to the slow sound of each word, learning the rhythm of the language. I practiced by repeating each word until it felt soft on my tongue. I wrote every day, even if it was just a few lines, because I knew that practice was the key to unlocking the secret of language. I kept a notebook of words that I did not know. I wrote down each new word, looked at its shape, and listened to its sound. I learned that each word had its own little story, its own place in the great book of life. I found a few tips along my journey that helped me to keep going. One tip was to read every day. Even if it was just a simple sentence, reading helped me to see how words fit together. Another tip was to speak out loud, even if no one was listening. My voice, no matter how small or unsure, was my tool to shape the language. I also discovered that writing down my thoughts, no matter how simple they were, gave me the chance to see my own progress. Each day I would write a few words, then a sentence, and slowly my writing grew longer and clearer. I learned that the struggle to learn English was not just about the language itself. It was about facing fears and learning to trust myself. It was about understanding that learning is a journey, one step after the other. Sometimes the road was steep, and I felt like I could not take another step. But then I remembered a small, gentle voice inside me saying, "Keep going. You can do this." I learned to take one step at a time. I learned that small steps add up to big journeys. There were times when I would sit in a quiet corner, feeling that the weight of the new language was too heavy to bear. I would look at the words on my page and wonder if I would ever understand their meaning fully. But in these quiet moments I found strength. I found that even in silence, there is a kind of learning, a deep inner growth that cannot be seen but is felt in the heart. I learned that every challenge is a chance to become a better version of myself. I met many kind souls along my path. Some were teachers who smiled gently and encouraged me to try again. Others were friends who listened patiently when I spoke slowly and with care. I even found comfort in the soft glow of a computer screen, as I read stories of others who had faced the same struggles. Their stories were like a warm light in the dark, a reminder that I was not alone. Their voices echoed in my mind. We all start small, but every word matters. Every new word I learned felt like a tiny spark that lit up a dark room. Each sentence I built was like laying a brick in a small house of understanding. I built my language skills slowly, one word at a time, until one day I saw that the house was taking shape. It was a house of hope, of strength, of perseverance. Even if the walls were not yet smooth, they were strong and filled with the memories of my hard work. In my struggle, I found many little treasures, words that made me smile, phrases that sang in my ears, and moments of joy when I finally understood a difficult sentence. I discovered that learning a new language was like planting a garden. It took time, care, and patience. The first sprouts were small and weak, but with water and sunlight they grew tall and strong. I learned that even if my garden was small, it was full of life and beauty. I also learned some very important tips along the way. One tip is to be kind to yourself. It is okay to make mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson. Each error is a stepping stone to better understanding. Another tip is to practice every day. Even a little bit of practice can go a long way. And always remember, it is okay to ask for help. When you feel lost, a kind word or a gentle guide can light the way. The journey to learn English was not easy. It was full of ups and downs. Some days, I felt like I was on top of the world. Other days, I felt very small and lost. I learned that feelings come and go just like the wind. There are days when the wind is strong and pushes you forward, and days when it is soft and barely moves you. But in all these moments, the journey continues. The road is long, but every step is worth it. I remember one very cold day when the Wind blew hard. I sat by the window and watched as the trees danced in the breeze. I thought about all the words I had learned and all the words I still needed to learn. The wind whispered secrets that made me feel brave. It said, "Every struggle is a part of your story. Every step, no matter how small, is a victory." In that moment, I felt a spark of hope. I knew that my struggle was not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. I was growing, slowly but surely. Sometimes I would write a sentence that felt like a small miracle. The words would come together, and I would see my thoughts on paper. I would read them back, and they would shine with the light of understanding. I learned that every word was a friend, every sentence a step closer to the person I wanted to be. I learned that my struggle was not my enemy, but my teacher. There were times when I felt frustrated. I would look at my notebook and see the same words over and over. The struggle would seem endless, like a long road with no end. But then I would remember that every long journey begins with one small step. I would take a deep breath and try again. I learned that perseverance is the key to all learning. I learned that every time I tried, I grew a little bit stronger. My journey was filled with many moments of discovery. I learned that English is not just a language, it is a world of ideas. Each word is a window into a different thought, a different feeling. I learned that by opening that window, I could see things I had never seen before. I learned that every conversation, every book, every song was a door to a new experience. And with each new experience, my world grew a little bigger. I discovered that learning can be fun if you let it be. I found joy in small victories, like finally understanding a difficult word or using a new phrase correctly in a sentence. I learned to celebrate every little win. I would smile at the sound of my own voice when I spoke a full sentence without hesitation. I learned that success is not measured by perfection, but by the courage to keep trying. I found that there are many ways to learn. I used books, songs, movies, and conversations. I would watch cartoons that spoke slowly and clearly. I listened to music that had a gentle tune and easy words. I tried to sing along even if my voice wavered. I wrote letters to friends and practiced with a mirror. I even spoke to my pet, telling it my thoughts, as if it could understand every word. Each method helped me in its own way. There were many pro tips I picked up along the way that helped me a lot. One tip is to use pictures and stories to learn new words. When you see a picture, you can connect it to the word in your mind. Another tip is to write a little every day. Even if you write just one sentence, it helps you build your skill. A third tip is to listen carefully. Listen to the sounds and the rhythm of the language. Over time, you will begin to feel the beat of each word and sentence. I learned that patience is very important. I learned that it takes time to grow strong. I learned that every small step is a building block for the future. Even on days when I felt like I was not moving forward, I knew that every word I learned was a seed planted for tomorrow. I learned that growth happens slowly and steadily. I learned to be patient with myself, to give myself time to learn and understand. Every challenge I faced taught me something new. I learned that some words are like puzzles that need to be solved. I learned that some sounds are like gentle waves that wash over you slowly. I learned that the language is a friend who sometimes speaks in riddles, but always with a kind heart. I learned that my struggle was not a sign of defeat, but a journey towards a brighter, clearer day. I also found that having a routine helped me a lot. Every morning, I would spend a few minutes reading a simple story. Every afternoon, I would write a few sentences about my day. Every night, I would listen to a calm, slow song that spoke in clear words. This routine gave me a structure. It helped me see that every day was a chance to learn something new. I learned that consistency is a powerful friend. Sometimes I would get very tired. There were days when the words felt heavy and the pages blurred together. On those days, I would take a break. I would step outside, breathe in the fresh air, and let my mind rest. I learned that rest is also important in learning. I learned that sometimes you must pause to take in all the beauty of the world. I learned that even the strongest trees need time to grow their roots deep in the earth. In the middle of my journey, I met a friend who was also learning English. We talked about our struggles and laughed at our mistakes. We shared our favorite words and simple poems. This friend showed me that learning is not a lonely path. I learned that when you share your journey with others, the road becomes lighter and the days become brighter. Together, we built a small bridge of words that connected our hearts. I discovered that stories are the best teachers. I read many simple stories that taught me about life, hope, and the beauty of words. I learned that every story has a lesson, and every lesson is a gift. I learned that stories can make the hard days easier and the bright days even more joyful. I learned that within each story is a spark that can light up the darkness. As I kept on learning, I found that the language started to feel more like home. I began to dream in English. I started to see the world in the light of new words. I learned that with each passing day, the strange sounds became familiar friends. I learned that the sentences I once found hard now flowed like a gentle stream. I learned that my struggle was turning into strength. I found that even when I could not find the right word, I could use simple words to make my point. I learned that communication is not about using big words or long sentences, but about sharing your heart. I learned that every word, no matter how small, is important. I learned that the beauty of language is not in its complexity, but in its ability to connect us. I want to share one more thing with you. A few more pro tips that helped me on my long journey. Tip 1. Listen to the language every day. Even if it is just a few minutes, listening helps you tune your ear to the sound of words. Tip 2. Practice speaking out loud. Your voice is the tool that turns written words into living thoughts. Tip 3. Write a little bit every day, even if it is just a short note to yourself. Every line you write is a step forward. Tip 4. Be patient and kind to yourself. Remember that every small effort counts, and every mistake is a lesson learned. I now see my struggle as a long, winding road that has brought me many lessons. I see that each challenge was a gift that taught me how to be brave and persistent. I see that every word I learned was a step towards a bigger dream. I see that learning English is not just about words and grammar. It is about discovering the world and finding your place in it. I learned that every moment of doubt was also a moment of growth. I learned that the journey is as important as the destination. I have walked many miles on this road, and I know that there is still so much more to learn. My struggle is not over, and my journey does not end here. I still sit with my notebook and pen, ready to write a new sentence, ready to learn a new word. I still listen to the soft sounds of the language, feeling the warmth of every new discovery. I still believe that every day is a chance to grow, and every mistake is a chance to learn something new. I share my story with you now, hoping that you find a spark of courage in my words. I want you to know that if you face a hard road, you are not alone. We all have struggles, and every struggle makes us stronger. I learned that the journey to learn English is full of twists and turns, ups and downs, but every step is a victory. I learned that your efforts, no matter how small, light up the path ahead. I learned that you are brave and you are strong. I speak these words to invite you to join me on this journey. I ask you, dear friend, to think about your own struggle, your own journey with words. Perhaps you have fought your own battles, or perhaps you are just starting out. No matter where you are, remember that every word you learn is a step toward a brighter day. I want you to feel the warmth of hope, the strength of perseverance, and the joy of discovery with every word you say and write. Would you like to explore further? Type yes or no. If you say yes, we will take another step on this winding road. I will share more tips and stories that helped me, and I will guide you deeper into the beautiful world of language. I will tell you about the small victories that make the hard work worth it. And I will show you how every day brings new chances to learn and grow. I will talk about the days when the light seemed dim and how the glow of hope made all the difference. I will remind you that the path of learning is never really over. It is a journey that continues as long as you are willing to take another step. If you say no, then I thank you for joining me on this part of my journey. I wish you all the best as you continue to grow and explore in your own way. May your days be filled with new words, bright ideas, and the gentle joy of discovery. Remember, every step you take, no matter how small, builds the future of your dreams. Farewell, and may your path be always lit by hope and kindness. I now wait for your response. Your choice is a turning point. If you choose to continue, we will delve even deeper into the heart of learning and the secret treasures hidden in simple words. We will talk about the beauty of patience, the joy of small wins, and the gentle art of embracing every challenge as a stepping stone. Together, we can explore more of the rich and ever-growing world of English, finding wisdom in every syllable and strength in every sentence. Every time you face a new word, remember that it is a friend waiting to be discovered. Every sentence you build is a small victory in the long journey of understanding. I learned that the joy of learning lies not in the perfection of the result, but in the process of discovery. It is the gentle unfolding of your thoughts, the careful crafting of ideas, and the simple delight in hearing your own voice speak a language that slowly becomes a part of you. I remember days when the letters on the page seemed to dance in confusion. I recall nights when I sat quietly, repeating the sounds of words until they began to form a melody in my mind. I learned that even in the silence of struggle, there is a quiet power. It is the power to try, to stumble, and then rise again with a little more wisdom than before. Each day is a chance to gather the pieces of understanding and to build a bridge from your heart to the vast world of expression. I found that my journey was not just about learning words. It was about learning about life itself. Every time I learned a new word, I learned a new way to see the world. I learned that the language we speak shapes the way we think and feel. It gives us the power to share our dreams, to express our feelings, and to connect with others in a deep and meaningful way. I discovered that learning English was like opening a door to a room filled with endless light and wonder, a room where every word holds a promise of a new beginning, and every sentence sings the song of possibility. As I continue on my journey, I have come to see that there is a quiet beauty in struggle. The challenges that once seemed impossible now shine like small stars in the dark sky of learning. They remind me that every moment of doubt is simply a chance to shine brighter next time. The moments when the words did not come easily were the very moments that built my strength and resilience. I learned that the road of learning is full of gentle curves and steep hills, but every hill climbed and every curve navigated makes the journey all the more rewarding. I have discovered that learning is a dance between the mind and the heart. The mind listens to the sounds of new words, and the heart feels the emotion behind every phrase. It is a dance that requires both patience and passion. There are days when the dance feels slow, and others when it is quick and joyful. Sometimes the steps are simple, and other times they are intricate. Yet every step, every pause, every leap is part of a larger rhythm, a rhythm that sings of hope, effort, and the quiet persistence of the human spirit. I learned many valuable lessons along this winding path. One lesson is that it is important to celebrate even the smallest achievements. A word learned today is a door opened for tomorrow. Another lesson is that mistakes are not failures, but lessons in disguise. Each time I misspoke or wrote a wrong word, I gained a better understanding of the language and of myself. I learned that the courage to keep going, even when things are difficult, is the truest measure of strength. I learned that success is not a destination, but a series of small wins that add up over time. I also learned that there is beauty in diversity. The English language is full of words from many places, and each word carries a piece of its history. I learned that by exploring different words, I was also exploring different ways of seeing the world. I learned that every culture, every story, every voice adds a unique note to the symphony of language. This understanding made my journey richer and more colorful. I learned that the struggle to learn English is a celebration of differences, a way to bring many voices together in one harmonious melody. I have kept a special journal where I write down not just words, but the feelings and stories behind them. In this journal, I capture the magic of a new phrase or the gentle reminder of a simple truth. Each entry is a piece of my journey, a reminder that every word learned is a victory, and every struggle overcome is a step toward a brighter future. I look back on these pages with gratitude, for they tell the story of my growth, my persistence, and my deep love for learning. Now, as I speak to you, I feel a deep connection with everyone who has ever struggled to learn something new. I know the fear of not being good enough. I know the pain of feeling lost in a sea of words. But I also know the joy that comes when you realize that every little effort builds a ladder that takes you higher. I learned that the struggle is a part of the journey, not the end of it. I learned that the moments when you want to give up are the moments when you are closest to a breakthrough. And most of all, I learned that every day, every word, and every sentence is a victory worth celebrating.